friends. And also, I would and this will be my last word. Probably at that time, they really showed clearly that they wanted to prioritize cancer immunotherapy as a strategic area for them.
So, Amaury, on your side, what was attractive about BMS? And above all, what I'd like to know is, why just one? Why not have lots of collaborations with lots of pharma companies?
So
Four.
Test. Yes.
Four.
Is it working now? Yeah, I think it's working. We have several collaboration, but why BMS and why this big agreement back in 2016? At this time, we were thinking of having new approach of the collaboration that we will set up with big companies to have less but more strategic. That's to say that we wanted to get out of several isolated contracts that leads to one clinical trial or one collaborative research. So those are fine, but we wanted to go a bit higher than that. And that was the meeting with BMS France team, because we shared the same expectations. And in the same time, we at the Institut Curie, we were about to launch the Center for Immuno-Oncology, headed by Sébastien Amigorena, and just several months after, an integrated center in oncopediatrics also. And that was surprising, but it was also two major priorities for BMS. And so it was quite natural to work together, and that was the beginning of the story.
So perhaps, Luigi, you could tell us some more about the concrete, what actually did you collaborate on, and what results have you got so far?
Right. So as Amaury was mentioning, we decided to really take a pragmatic approach, and even though the agreement was very large, we started by focusing on certain areas. So we started focusing on immunotherapy, especially on the side of new tumors, where immunotherapy was more difficult to act compared to the historical areas where immunotherapy had success, like melanoma, like lung cancer. So we started working on gynecological cancer in a trial led by Emanuele Romano, the clinical center that was created, as Amaury was saying, at Curie. And then another part that is very important to BMS, continues to be a very, very important area, which is pediatric oncology. So we started by really focus on clinical research, because this is where we really want to have a quick start. But then we managed to achieve our goals, to go beyond that, and to go, I would say, even upstream. So to work in translational setting, in preclinical projects, just to have a full, really structured agreement that would embrace all R&D activities.
And for you, Amaury, what were the challenges that you had to face up to with this partnership, with this collaboration?
Maybe before talking about the challenges, what was for us the key success is what I mean, because that's something, as was said by Luigi. We started by clinical trials, which is obvious when you talk about a big pharma and a comprehensive cancer center. But we moved to time by time to more, discussion with translational research, and now on more cognitive research, let's say that. And one of the challenges was how to do that. Because, at Curie, we are 3,500 persons working, clinicians, researchers, etc., 3 sites in Paris. So it's complicated to catalyze that. And one of the key thing was to set up a governance of this agreement that was really working governance, not just having some meetings and so on, but really something effective. We had the chance that some clinicians that were in Curie a few years ago are now in BMS, so it really helps us to catalyze this collaboration. And
so they knew the language, the common language.
Yeah, they knew the language, and that's to share with the audience. That's important to have those people.
It's an important factor.
Yeah, that's an important factor. And And another important factor of success, I don't know if Jean-Yves is still connected or if he can hear me with my natural voice, but one important factor of success also is to have dedicated teams, and that's the case in Curie. We have the chance, I have a team of 15 person, even more if I take into account all the project managers that are embedded in the teams, and that's the same for the JKI team in BMS, so that they can really work and prepare all those things. Not everyone is like Jean-Yves and they can do everything at the same time.
So sharing a common language, having a dedicated team, these are very important factors. What about the challenges? What issues did you have?
I think it's really been quite a successful collaboration, but obviously it's not. There's still areas of improvement. I think for me, what has been particularly striking is probably the different pace at which our different organizations evolve and transform. So I'm not saying that in an institute like Curie there are no transformation, people that are moving, strategies that are evolving.
So you're saying BMS is quicker?
But I think pharma in general transform and evolve in such a rapid way that sometimes it can be difficult, even for us internally, to make sure that our academic partner understand what's going on. So I think, as Amaury was highlighting, we have the chance of having two teams that are dedicated to collaboration on both sides. And I think we're trying to mitigate the risk of this difference of pace of transformation by being very, very cautious on communicating well where things were changing, to communicate well where people were moving, and so to make sure that projects ongoing were not disrupted by these changes, and making sure we were communicating that efficiently and timely. Yeah, so I think.
And for you, Amaury, what were the challenges that?
Yeah, that was a challenging, and that's still a challenge for the future. And I'm not saying that for Luigi, but that's really what I'm thinking. In France, the subsidiaries of big pharmas, usually they play a role of, just coming to see us because they have a product, they want to open a site for clinical trial, and that's it. And that's difficult for us as a tech transfer office. When we have researcher, we have patents, we have technology, we want to discuss with R&D inside the big pharmas, but we cannot go every day in Switzerland or in Boston or in San Francisco to meet R&D departments. So one of the biggest challenges that was solved with BMS is that Luigi did that job for us, and that's the originality of the organization of BMS, is that he was the translator, we can say that, of our expectation, what can we offer.
He kind of facilitated the whole relationship.
Facilitator, but not only a facilitator, because at the end, when we have our annual meetings, we have the top management of BMS with us. So that's really important for us, because we are to mobilize the physicians or the researcher. It can be hard, but when you say we have the top guys or top women from the management on board, that helps.
Yeah, yeah, and so this is something that you had to go out there and find, I imagine, or at least build on the relationships that you had within BMS. But what was it that inspired you with this particular relationship that you had?
Well, obviously, working with a center like Institut Curie is by itself inspiring. I mean, the reputation of the institute is goes well outside of France and outside of Europe. It's not difficult to share. I think what I like to see over the years is that we've been able to really deliver on our promise, which was to really go step by step, but really set for ourselves ambitious goals. And now I thank you, Amaury. I was smiling under the mask when you said about
we didn't see his smile,
our
but he was
collaboration.
smiling.
I think it's something we need to really take care of. It's something that has been successful, but we have to work every day to maintain this connectivity for us to be ambassador of the institute with BMS and of BMS with the institute. So this is really exciting moving forward.
Yeah, and I think this is a common theme that I seem to be hearing, is that we need that constant communication. You know, we have a couple of minutes, literally. So if there are any questions, just raise your hand, and I'll bring a mic to you. If anyone would like to say something. Oh, a question on the chat. Let's have. What are you?
About the duo we have with Vivet and Pfizer. If you can go back to the question from the beginning and ask.
Vivet
Yes.
and Pfizer. So,
Yeah.
so you would. Is this me being? It looks like you. It looks like me. So, what you want me to ask the question of Donna? Yeah. Oh, Donna, are you still with us? No, she's gone. Well. Donna is no longer with us. She's gone underwater, I think. Yeah. So if there's no questions from the audience, I would just like to thank very warmly our panel for being here today, and our absent panel for being here as well. So thank you. Thank you, and thank you. And now we're ready for the next round table, which is why and how governance in innovative companies supports growth, moderated by Lillian Stern, founder of Stern. Thank you. C'est pas évident. La technologie qui va sous l'eau tous les 5 minutes. Peut mieux faire.